I used to think Oakwood Estates was the perfect neighborhood. Wide streets lined with blooming magnolias, evenly mowed lawns that look straight out of a catalog, and neighbors polite enough to nod but distant enough to mind their business. But I quickly learned perfection has a price, and in our case, that price wore designer sunglasses and drove a white Lexus. Her name was Karen Winters, HOA president, self-declared queen of order, and unfortunately for me, my next-door neighbor. From the day I moved in, she made it her mission to show me who really ran the block. Her blonde hair was always styled in that signature "I want to speak to the manager" cut, and her outfits were so coordinated with her car, I wondered if she bought them in sets. At every HOA meeting, she perched at the head of the table like royalty, quoting bylaws like scripture. "The bylaws exist for a reason," she'd say with a sugary smile that could curdle fresh milk. And heaven help the poor soul who put out their trash bins 10 minutes too early, because Karen noticed everything. At first, I tried to keep my head down. I work from home as a software developer, so I'm home more than most. That gave Karen plenty of time to monitor my every move. The violation started small. A warning letter because my trash can was visible from the street for 45 minutes. Then a note claiming my grass was 1/4 inch taller than HOA limits. But the kicker, a formal complaint about the unauthorized decorative gnome on my front porch. Apparently, it disrupted the neighborhood's visual harmony. Still, I stayed calm. I knew what she was, and I figured if I gave her nothing, she'd eventually find a new victim. I was wrong. Everything blew up when I decided to repaint my house. The old cream color was dull, fading under the sun. I wanted something clean, modern, still neutral. So I chose a shade called Coastal Fog, a soft, light gray. I followed the process exactly, submitted the request, got approval from the architectural committee, even printed out the email just in case. Painting day came. It was a Tuesday, quiet, with most neighbors off to work. I was sitting on my porch with my laptop, watching the painters begin the first wall when I heard it, the screech of tires on concrete. Karen's Lexus pulled into my driveway like she was raiding a drug den. She practically leapt out of the car and stormed up to the painters, holding up her hand like a traffic cop. "Stop, immediately," she barked. The lead painter looked stunned. "Is there a problem, ma'am?" "This color is not approved," she snapped, pointing at the wall like it was graffiti. "This is at least 2 shades darker than the Coastal Fog sample you submitted." I calmly stood and walked over, pulling up my phone. "Here's the approval email. Exact color code, dated 2 weeks ago." Karen barely glanced at it. "As president of the HOA, I have final say on all exterior modifications. This shade is unacceptable." "I followed the rules, Karen. The committee signed off on this." She leaned in, her voice low and sharp. "If painting continues, you'll receive a $500 fine per day, starting now." The painter turned to me. "Sir?" I said, "Keep going. We're doing everything by the book." Karen's face tightened. "Fine, but you'll be hearing from me again." Then she spun on our heel and drove off, like tires squealing like a toddler's tantrum. But she wasn't done. About 30 minutes later, during a Zoom call with a client, I heard another commotion. I stepped out again, and there she was, Karen, now wearing a blazer, holding what looked like a badge in a leather wallet. "I am issuing a cease and desist order," she declared, waving her badge at the painters like it was a magic wand. "This is an unapproved exterior modification in violation of neighborhood codes." I froze. "Karen, what are you doing?" She turned to me smugly. "I am a registered code enforcement officer for the county of Oakwood. I completed my certification last month. This job is illegal, and I have the authority to shut it down." She handed me an official-looking document with county letterhead and a fine, $750 payable to the HOA. It all looked weirdly legit. "Painters, pause," I said, sensing they were about to bail anyway. "You'll be paid for the day." Karen gave me the smuggest smile I'd ever seen and drove off like she'd just won a legal battle. But something about the document bugged me. The county department listed didn't match what I remembered. The signature was from a Director Williams, but Oakwood's website listed a Director Rodriguez. And the violation code didn't even exist in their database. So, I called the real Oakwood County Code Enforcement Division. After a few transfers, a calm-voiced clerk confirmed what I already suspected. "Sir, we don't have a certification program for civilians, and Cameron Winters is not affiliated with our department in any way." Would impersonating a code enforcement officer count as a crime? It absolutely would. Would you like to be transferred to the sheriff's office? "Yes," I said. "Please." The next day, deputies arrived at Karen's house. I watched from my home office window as she was escorted to their vehicle, not in cuffs, but visibly shaken. Her face, for once, wasn't smug. It was scared. Later, I found out she doubled down when questioned, showed them the fake badge again, tried to bluff. They found several fake documents in her home, all with county seals, some with forged signatures. Her charges: impersonation of a government official, forgery, fraudulent use of county emblems, felony charges, plural. 3 weeks later, we had an emergency HOA meeting. The room was packed. People stood, sat on the floor, even leaned in from the hallway. The vice president cleared his throat and made it official. Karen Winters had been removed as HOA president permanently, no appeals. She was also facing probation, legal fees, and, oh, the irony, court-ordered community service. As the meeting ended, the back doors creaked open. Karen walked in. She didn't look like the Karen we all knew. No blazer, no heels, just a sweater and jeans. Her hair, usually perfect, was tied back messily. Her eyes scanned the room, desperately seeking any hint of sympathy. She found none. Her eyes met mine, and I saw it. That flicker, that moment she realized it was over. Her reign of rule books and intimidation gone. She turned without a word, and as the doors clicked shut behind her, the entire room exhaled at once, a collective breath we didn't know we'd been holding for years. Afterward, neighbors I'd never even met came up to thank me. Some shared their own stories: hidden bird feeders that got reported, garden chairs that violated the view. She'd made life hell for so many. And yet, in trying to control us, Karen had unwittingly brought us together. The best part? I repainted the entire house the next week. Coastal fog never looked so sweet.